Okay, we get everybody? Okay, next item on the agenda is additions or changes to the agenda. Does anybody have any additions or changes to make to the current agenda for tonight? No.
I want to, this is John Mateen. I wanted to make one change. So for the fifth case, W.T. Stevens Construction, Inc., the address says 653/655 South Saginaw Street. I just wanted to slash the 653. It should just only be 655.
655, okay. All right, any other changes? Hearing none, if we could have a motion to adopt the agenda with the amendment for applicant W.T. Stevens to correct the address.
I make a motion to adopt the agenda with the changes that were made for W.T. Stevens.
Is there support?
Support.
We have a motion with support. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Support.
And the agenda is adopted. Moving on, minutes of previous meeting and disposal. So these are the minutes from the May 6th meeting that we should all have in front of us. I think it's 6 pages long, 6 pages long. You want to just review those briefly?
I have a question. Was Kelly Thompson at the last meeting?
I don't believe so.
You guys have her down. They have her down as reading the amendment for the Open Meetings Act.
And that would be City Attorney Gurley, I believe, read it last month. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So striking Miss Thompson and adding in Miss Gurley. Any other corrections or changes? Hearing none, is there a motion to adopt the minutes with the correction of the city attorney's name?
Make a motion to adopt the minutes.
With the correction, and is there support?
Support.
And any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 And motion passes, minutes are adopted. Next item on the agenda, hearing from the public. This is where anyone from the public can speak about anything that is not already on the agenda. So if you're here to speak about one of the itemized applicants for tonight, wait until we're discussing that applicant and then you can speak. But if you want to speak about something different that's not on the agenda, now would be the time. So is there anyone from the public that would like to speak about anything not already on the agenda?
Hi, Heather. This is
Yes.
Nick with Carriagetown. Could you list off the applicants on
Sure.
the agenda? I don't know what they are.
Don't have it in front of you.
No.
How would you know? Okay, so we have applicant Whaley Children's Center, 307 University Avenue. Applicant Sherry Ananick, Carriagetown Ministries, 604 Garland. Applicant Therese McDonald, 1027 Manning Court. Applicant Riverside Tabernacle, 429 Northbound Chavez. Applicant W.T. Stevens, Flintstone Investment Group, 655 South Saginaw. Applicant Paul Herring, 405 University Avenue. Applicant Paul Herring, 508 Mason.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right, last call. Anyone from the public
Thank you.
want to make a statement that doesn't have anything to do with what's on the agenda already? Hearing nothing, we can move on. to the certificates of appropriateness and notices to proceed. First applicant is Whaley Children's Center, 307 University Avenue. Is there anyone here to present on this project?
Yes, I am Amy Anderson, representing Whaley Children's Center.
Okay. And normally how we do this, since everybody's kind of here for all the applicants, normally we'd be in person around a table and the applicant would kind of stand up, and if they had any samples, they'd pass them around the table and just kind of give a little presentation of what their plan is, what they want to do. And then after that, we just kind of shoot questions at you. It's just kind of informal, just a discussion. It's kind of free flowing. So if you want to just kind of start out and explain what you're doing and what the materials are, why you're doing it, and then we'll ask you some questions.
Sure, I will do my best. I'm standing in for our CEO, Mindy Williams, who was unable to attend today.
Okay.
We have purchased the home at 307 University. It's going through the process of getting some furnishings and getting the home ready for licensing, as we're going to have an independent living program there for our kids who have aged out of our program. And the only reason we're requesting this at this time is because our insurance company is asking for it just for the duration of time while we are not occupying the home. So while there's no people for liability issues.
Okay. And
Do you, hi, this is Mike Hurley. Do you have any idea how long that will be? What's the time period here?
I believe we're looking at 3 to 6 months. Some of it's up in the air because it's hard to determine how long it'll be for the actual licensing process. But we expect to
Sure.
get the application in within 2 months. So give it 3 to 4 months for that license to come through.
so it doesn't,
I understand.
the holdup wouldn't be like construction or anything. You're not
No,
working on it.
Yeah, we already have contractors lined up, and it's just for the installation of a steel door and the window screens that they're requesting that are more secured.
And so this is just for that 3 to 6
And
month
then,
period, and then they would be removed once there's occupants.
Correct.
And then when you do remove these items, it's all reversible, right? You can just go, it'll be back the way it was.
Correct. Yes.
Are you guys drilling into
Okay.
the wood?
Could you repeat the question?
Are you drilling into the wood?
I am not aware of if it would require. I would assume there might be some, but I cannot give that answer.
So the steel door that's being replaced, are we talking about the front door or back door, all the doors?
The custom steel doors for all the egress doors at the home, so front and back.
So taking off the current existing doors,
Correct.
and they will be saved and put back?
Correct.
Well, obviously we can continue to discuss it, but I'll get a motion out there that we accept the application as presented.
Is there support?
Support.
We have a motion with support. Any further discussion? Is there anyone that would like to say anything?
Is the contract, excuse me, this is Commissioner Nicewinder, is the contractor aware of the historic nature of
Yes,
the structure? So they're,
they are. It is Boss Man Construction, and he's been detailed of everything that was brought forward to us regarding the Historic District Commission. And we would greatly appreciate if there's any further regulations we could forward on to them to make sure none are violated or any concerns brought up.
okay, thanks. So, yeah, I was just curious about their understanding of the care that needs to be taken for preservation's sake.
Yeah, and this is new to us. We've not had dealt with this. So any information, as I mentioned, that you could provide that would help us with understanding the care needed for the maintenance of it would be greatly appreciated.
Well, I think if this were to be permanent, I mean, not to speak for everyone else, but I don't think it would be approved if, you know, there was going to be metal doors and windows put on permanently. That I think it would not be
So,
approved.
so are you
It's not
taking
appropriate
off,
materials.
are you taking off the whole door frame to put in this door, or I mean, I'm just curious how this is gonna work, because are you attaching it over the old door, or, and we're just gonna drill into this new siding they were just replaced on this home? And I don't know, I'd like, Nick is the neighbor house to that, that's why I think he's on the call, and I'd like to hear from him. Because, I mean, I don't know if I want to look at this all summer in a historic neighborhood.
Yeah, Heather, Nick over here. Am I able to speak?
Yes, sure.
Okay. So I have a question for the applicant. I don't know if that's okay. So the home was purchased last fall and you haven't gotten any approval for your project yet or any licensing?
We cannot get the home licensed until it's fully furnished and everything's ready to go.
Okay. So did your insurance company give you alternatives for securing the property?
This is what our insurance company was demanding that we had placed on it, which is where we came into this obstacle. This is not something we would have put on, which is why we have every intention of getting it removed as quickly as possible. We want the home. We love the appearance of the home.
Did your executive director know the house was in a historic district before it was purchased?
Probably, but not realized everything that came with it. We didn't have any plans of putting these things on the home until the insurance came to us with them.
Now, what happens when that 6 months that you've quoted as maximum perhaps is extended to a year for these hideous metal screens that you're going to be putting up on the house?
I would assume that if anything needed to go further, we would have to go through this process.
I would suggest, I mean, as perhaps a middle ground, meeting in the middle to maybe make it more palatable for everyone to approve. And I know there's already a motion on the floor that would then have to be amended, but perhaps approving temporary security measures as required by the insurance company for a limited time period of 6 months. And if it extends beyond that 6 months, they must be back here at our meeting to talk about why it's taking longer than 6 months, why they can't be removed at that point. Perhaps just giving a temporary approval since it is a temporary project.
Commissioner Bernash, Bill Vandercook, as you have in the past, maybe you can consider a notice to proceed just for the 6 months.
Right, instead of a certificate of appropriateness, because metal doors and window covers are never appropriate in a historic district. So this would be more like when we grant approvals to demolitions, it's just a notice to proceed, like we're not happy about it. We don't like this, but we understand you don't want to do it either. It's your insurance company requiring it. So we're going to give you 6 months.
Right, but I mean, my question is, what is that going to tell the people that want to invest in this neighborhood? I mean, the look of that makes it look like, okay, well, this neighborhood's not safe.
It's a huge streetscape issue.
Agreed.
And it's on one of the busiest roads in our neighborhood.
This is Commissioner Davis. Can I speak?
Yes, please.
Okay, I would like to second Heather's motion. Living in where I live at, we have to have on our doors and windows. If we don't, somebody's coming in. So I can understand why the insurance company wants them to have these bars and windows on. So I can agree with everybody that let's give them 6 months, as they stated, to try to get the home approved for licensing. And then if after 6 months they don't comply, then we do something else. But I can understand very much why the insurance company would like this done. Thank you.
But my other question is also that if they bought it in the fall, why did it take so long to have them have to put these on? That was what, 4 months later, 5 months later?
Because I think usually in the winter time, you think about it, most people, the snow shows footprint. So most of the time when the house is going to get vandalized is usually in a warmer months and
Right, but my question is why, how
not in
come
the
we're
colder
waiting
months.
now to apply? You guys haven't even applied for the licensing or have it set up to do the licensing, and you've already owned the house for 5 or 6 months.
If I could discuss that, we've just got this requirement from the insurance company when we sent the application. So we didn't know that was going to be asked to the insurance company. We've been working with licensing. Licensing is very aware, has already viewed the property from the outside. They're on board with us maintaining the license. Licensing is a state of Michigan. They're very backed up. That is outside of our control. But we've been working with them. They are on board with approving it. They still have to go through all the formalities. But as far as the why it's waited so long for the insurance, we just added this property to our insurance, obviously for the renewal. And this is when they came forward with this requirement after going out and seeing.
Yeah, well, no, my question is, when you said you had 2 months before you get the application for the licensing in,
Yes, because we're working on the renovations inside as far as got to have some carpet removal and updates. The home inside was not left in good condition, unfortunately. So there's things being done inside.
that's what my question was. How come it's,
Yeah.
5, 6
Our
months
maintenance
and
team's
hasn't
been
been,
working on that.
the application isn't in yet? That's what my question was.
Nick Cadaveri here. I do have another question. Have you been approved for a zoning variation or zoning ordinance change or for the use of the property?
I'm not aware of where they're at in that process, so I don't want to speak on that.
Okay. We're just, I'm going to be frank with you. Carriage Town, we don't want to see any more bad neighbors move into the neighborhood.
Sure.
We want, of course, good neighbors. We want owners that keep up their properties, maintain their properties. We just don't want Whaley to become quote unquote a bad neighbor.
No, I understand that completely. We do have a maintenance team that maintains all of our properties. We also have 3 group homes throughout the local area, all within 2 miles of our main campus here on Grand Traverse. We have made many updates to those properties and maintain them well, and that would be
Right. But is this your first home in a historic district?
Yes.
Okay, so the standards are going to be
Higher.
clearly a little different. So, and we definitely take pride in our home ownership, and we just don't want another bad neighbor.
Agreed.
We're trying to push those neighbors out and try to get good neighbors in.
Understood.
And they
you.
didn't, the insurance company, they didn't give you any alternatives as far as like motion lights, videos, anything else that could
They did not.
help secure the property?
Did
an
you ask
alarm?
for alternatives?
I'm not aware if that was asked.
And these screens and doors, there is, when I'm reading through the quote, the estimate here, are these rented? So you don't really own it, you're just paying like per month to have it on there?
Correct. They will be the property of the contractors and not ours.
So you can't necessarily like paint it to make it blend in with the house better and not stand out like metal color?
It's possible. I don't know that that's out. He's worked with us on numerous of our properties, so he's does a lot of things at our request.
Commissioner Bernashville, because you mind if I go back to Mr. Scapani's question about the length of time that's taken? I believe that there was discussion earlier that the purchasers may not have been aware this was in a home of a historic district. So it's taken some time.
That wasn't my question. She answered my question was, how come they didn't apply for the license? It's gonna take, they got 2 months for the license and then 2 to 3 months after the license for them to approve it. My question is, if they owned it for 6 months, why didn't they? She answered my question. They were doing some interior work.
Thank you.
So that was my question on the whole thing.
So Heather, I put the motion out there. I guess I would like to amend that motion along the lines that you described, where to make, and my intention was it was a motion. It was not an appropriate.
Notice to
and
proceed
It was a notice to proceed, not a certificate of
on a limited
appropriateness.
basis.
It month seems like a fair amount of time. It would be a limited basis, and if it's not completed in 6 months, we should revisit this.
Perhaps with minimal damage and to the property and all original features to be returned.
I think that's fair.
Could you repeat that last line, please?
Minimal damage to the structure and all original features that are removed to be returned.
Yeah. So that is understood on our part.
Okay, is there support for that motion?
I support Commissioner Davis.
Thank you. And then if we could have a roll call vote.
Commissioner Bernash,
Yes.
Commissioner Hurley,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Nicewander,
Yes.
Commissioner Scapani.
No.
Okay. And motion carries. So normally, again, we would be in person. I would sign the certificate and hand it right to you. So you could immediately take it to the building department, get whatever permits, do whatever you have to do. But City Hall is not really open that way and we're not there. So I'll probably be going in tomorrow or Monday and sign them. And then the city will be calling you to arrange getting you the signed certificate.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then you are free to go. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, next on our agenda, Sherry Antoinette, Carriage Town Ministries, 604 Garland. Is anyone here to present on this application?
Good evening. This is Sherry.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I couldn't get into the Zoom, so I had to dial in, but I'm Sherry Antoinette with H2A Architects, representing Carriage Town today, Carriage Town Ministries. And I hope you all have the image of the existing condition and our proposed rendering for the little building at 604 Garland. Right now, it's about a 1,700 square foot shoebox made out of concrete masonry units that used to be a few different businesses through the years. But it's our intention to do new aluminum storefronts in the existing openings where overhead doors were, and a new cantilevered canopy with signage.
Okay.
Some
And then
site
this-
improvements. Go ahead.
Oh, this application already came before us, correct?
Oh, yes, it did. It was approved in 2019 and was put on hold during COVID. And when we're ready to get going on it again and realize that our C of A had an expiration date. So we're reapplying for that.
Correct. So this is
tonight.
not anything new or different. It's essentially just a renewal of a project that you've already presented to us. We've already screened and vetted this project, and it was approved previously, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
I do have one question. Is the signage lighting lit? Is it lit sign? I don't remember.
Well, I believe that the donut sign is will be internally lit, and we might have a few little uplights on the letter sign.
Okay, I'm just trying to think of what's all, making sure it's not gonna glare in somebody's, I can't remember what's on the other side of that road. If it's not gonna glare inside of somebody's bedroom windows.
There's
Or
Commissioner
Georgetown
Burnett,
Ministries and then a vacant lot. And I don't remember what else, and it's it's behind the grocery store.
Okay, yeah, no, you're good. Okay, never mind.
Commissioner Bernash, to Commissioner Scapani, that's a separate sign permit. They'll have to be applied for also, even with the historic district approval. And also the director of the building development department has to review for the glare on signs too and approve those. If there's going to be an issue with those.
I make a motion to approve the renewal.
Support.
We have a motion with support. Is there any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none, if we could have a roll call vote?
Commissioner Bernash,
Yes.
Commissioner Hurley,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Nicewander,
Yes.
Commissioner Stefani.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. And thank you for coming, Sherry. We'll get it signed tomorrow or Monday, and we will get it to you, and you'll be good for another year.
I appreciate it. Have a great evening.
You're welcome. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, next item on our agenda is at 3's McDonald, 1027 Manning Court. Is there anyone here to present on that project?
I think you're on mute, Therese.
Am I unmuted now?
There we go.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, so anytime, just feel free to explain your project, what you're doing, what materials you're using, what the plan is,
Okay,
and why you need to do it.
I'm replacing the roof on my house, mostly because it's leaking and needs to be replaced. And I am matching the current roof shingles as closely as I possibly can. They don't currently make exactly the same type that are on the house now, but the color will be the same. And as I said, I'm matching it as close as I possibly can to what's available out there. Right, and they're removing all of the shingles on the house, and if they have to replace the underlayment, they'll do that, but that's not going to be visible. It'll just be the shingles that'll be visible. And then if you, do you have my packet that I sent in of the pictures of the house? Okay, so in the rear of the house where you see the shingles that are on the flat part of the house by the windows, I was told that was never supposed to have been put in, and I'm not sure when the roof was originally put on. My family has owned the house since 1951, and so my mother would have replaced the roof, and I tried to find her documentation from it, but I was unable to do it, and my mother passed away. So I'm not sure why that was done. But in the documentation that I sent, they say that they have to put the white vinyl siding. And I asked if we couldn't put the shingles that are on the rest of the house, the white shingles, and they said, no, you can't do that on that type of the side of the house. So the rear part, that's the flat part, and on both of the sides of the house where the black shingles are, that'll be replaced with white siding. So
Sherry, do you have any old, or Therese, do you have any old photographs of the house that show?
No, I looked for that. I looked all over for that,
and
and I couldn't find any old pictures. And none of my siblings could remember what it looked like in the back.
Well, my initial impression would be that I'm fine with the roof. There's no problem with re-roofing a house. Every house needs to be re-roofed, and replacing like with like, that's not a problem at all. I do have concerns about putting vinyl siding on any structure in a historic district. I mean, if the contractor's telling you it needs to be siding, like horizontal siding rather than shingles, that's understandable. But typically in a historic district, it would need to be an original material like wood for the siding. Vinyl and aluminum didn't exist, 100 years ago, and it just wouldn't be appropriate in a historic district. So that would be my concern. I don't know if there's perhaps some negotiation or wiggle room there. Maybe we could vote piecemeal and improve the roof so you can at least get started on that, and leave the siding battle for a different day, or we can vote on the whole thing up or down. But I would hate for the siding to cost you the roof, if we deny the whole project, and that means you can't do the roof either if it needs to be done.
And the roof, I'm not able to just repair the roof. I already tried that. And they said, no, you have to replace it. I already asked them because some of the shingles had, in pieces had come off, but there were shingles underneath. But anyway, I have to replace the whole roof. Are you aware where my house is?
Yes.
So you're aware that I'm the only house in the historic district?
Yes, sadly.
Yes. I have a long history with the Historic District Commission. I fought to keep all the houses on the street.
Thank you. So did I.
Yeah, it was a very sad day.
Yep.
And totally side question, but since you are the only one left, I mean, would it be your desire to keep Manning Court as a local historic district?
I wasn't aware that I had any choice.
No, I'm not saying there'd be a formal process, but I'm just, as the owner of the one house left, I was curious how you felt about that. Because most of the historic district is gone, I think it would be up for a discussion. We can't solve it here. I'm just saying, down the road.
Yeah, I like I said, this is the first that I have any knowledge that there was any alternative to not just still be included in the historic district.
Sure. Well, historic districts are formed, historic districts are dissolved, and there's processes for that. And so that's the only reason I bring it up.
So is wood siding something you would consider instead of vinyl siding, or did you apply for vinyl siding just because that's what your contractor suggested, because that's what all contractors
suggest? I can ask him about wood, but like I said, I asked him about doing the shingles exactly how they are on the house now, and he said no, they couldn't do that. It wasn't a matter of cost, by the way. That was not the issue.
Okay.
I can go back and ask about putting wood on and rather than the vinyl.
Well, Commissioner Niswanger, you're the architect in the group. Is there any, what's your thoughts on, to me, it would look, the normal look would be to carry the cedar shake shingle onto that surface, but maybe there's a reason why that's not advisable.
Yeah, no, thanks for asking. So I'm looking at the application and trying to figure out, so the main part of the house is wood siding. Is that right? Based on the
Yeah, that's the original siding on the house.
Okay.
It's been painted, but other than that, it's all the original siding.
And then the upper portion are those actual asphalt shingles, or are
Yes,
those?
they're just like the roof.
Okay, so it is asphalt. That's what I thought.
I don't know what the original roof was back when it was built in 1916. I don't have any idea.
Well, I would imagine if you removed some of that asphalt on the dormer, that back dormer that we're looking at, those, you know, the asphalt shingles that are covering the siding, potentially you might find what something underneath that maybe could be used as a reference point to replace. And that's what I was thinking. You know, I definitely think the vinyl, even though it's on the rear of the house, it really won't fit with the historic character of the building. So if we can find something that can match if we pull off those some of the asphalt shingles there and see what's underneath, maybe we can see if it matches the lower part of the house. And then we can easily determine that that's what should, you know, get replaced or repaired to match with to avoid using vinyl, if that makes sense.
Okay. I'll talk to my contractor and ask him if he can come and remove some of them so we can see what's underneath.
Is it helpful to you if we had approved the roof at this point?
If you what?
If we approved just doing the roof at this point, does that help get things started? Or would you rather keep the application as
yes, it would, because
full job?
There are definitely some holes that drip into the house. So and I've already been delayed it a while. So I would just as soon be able to put the roof on the main part of the house. Yes, if you would approve that would, they at least can get started on that part.
Or perhaps we could approve wood siding, whether it's shingle or, you know, long siding strips.
You can
approving
do that.
wood.
I can then talk to them about.
And they could go with either
right.
one. I mean, I don't find either one objectionable. I'm more concerned about the material than I am about whether it's shake or whether it's siding.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that. So I'll make a motion that we approve the application with the amendment of no vinyl siding and using wood, either shingles or wood boards as the product that's going to be on the dormer.
Is there support for that motion? Okay, we have a motion with support. Is there any further discussion? All right, hearing none, if we could have a roll call vote.
Commissioner Bernash,
Yes.
Commissioner Hurley,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright. I think we lost Commissioner Wright. Commissioner Nicewander,
Yes.
Commissioner Scapani.
Yes.
Okay. Well, the motion carries without her vote, so we can go forward and.
So
motion.
once I find out from him about the wood, do I need to put in another application?
You won't, because we approved wood as a material, and
Okay.
we did not limit you and say it has to be shingle or it has to be siding. So whichever the two of you figure out, I think, you know, we don't have an objection to either one. So as long as it's wood.
Okay. All right.
So I'll be signing that certificate in the next couple of days, and then the city will call you and get it to you.
Okay. I do want to mention one thing, that a lot of the greenery and foliage and everything that's around the house is original back to, I mean, some of the trees, because we had one of the first ginkgo trees in the city, but the other foliage, a lot of it, at least it was there back in 1951. So I just wanted to let you know that a lot of that, I've let a lot of it grow, but at least I've left it,
Mm-hmm.
right, to grow. And the front hedge, there's a lot of it, you know, where I remember my dad trimming the hedge and everything. So I just wanted to let you know, we're very concerned about keeping it, actually keeping it. And obviously you're aware of what was going on and everything, but we have not sold on purpose. So,
Well, thank you. We appreciate that.
yeah. And also the interior, just so you're aware, there's one main bathroom and 2 half baths. And there are 9 children in my family. So we lived in that with 11 people. And the 2 half baths have original sinks, original tile. All the interior doors are all the interior doors have the original door handles, and all of the molding and all the molding, both around the basin and up, is all original, all still there.
Very nice.
So, and also all the windows, because one of the things is that they're actually single pane windows. They're not like the new ones where they just clip over the molding on it and everything. So we tried very hard to keep both the inside and the outside. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you for coming.
Yep.
Okay, next applicant, Riverside Tabernacle, 429 northbound Chavez. Is anyone here to present on that project?
Yes, I'm here, Jerry Birchler. I'm on the board. I'm a deacon. We have several other people, Shannon Polk, who's an associate pastor, Chris Pontier, who's with Case Construction, I believe Jeff Brands, who's representing Creekwood Associates, our architectural firm. So I'll give a little bit of an overview, and maybe some of the other people can respond to questions. Riverside Tabernacle is located on Chavez between 2nd Street and Kersley Boulevard. And we've been in the city since 1927. We've been at the Chavez location since the early 1950s. One of our ministries and outreaches is the Storehouse Ministry. And it's been in existence for 20 years. And Howard Thompson heads up the Storehouse Ministry. And we're currently, for the last 20 years, we've been sourcing food from the Food Bank of Eastern Michigan. They deliver it in a semi-truck each Monday morning, and we unload the truck, carry it down to the fellowship hall, where it's stored or assembled for distribution on Tuesday. We distribute food to 300 or 400 families every Tuesday for the last 20 years, with a few exceptions, few breaks. We are desirous of building a 4,200 square foot building behind the church. It would be a prefabricated steel building that would be used for storing and assembling the food for distribution on a weekly basis. I would, the church itself is not a historic building, but it's located in a historic district.
Jerry, is there anything on the site now? Are you removing anything?
No, there's nothing on the site. You should have a site plan that was prepared by Creekwood architectural firm that shows the location of the storehouse addition.
Is that going to be attached to the building or?
Well, we're looking at two alternatives. One, we would like to attach it to the back of the building. The other alternative is to locate it, some distance from the building, maybe 10 or 20 feet, that type of thing. But that leaves kind of a dead area between what we call the education building and the storehouse building.
And so what will the materials be? I see the drawings, but I don't see will it be matching the main structure or different materials?
The main structure is brick, and I'll let Howard speak to the building itself.
Okay, I'm Howard. The thought would be, as we were going to do a metal building, because of the construction of it would be, easier, quicker, and we can do designing or colors that would, match up well with the building versus the brick, the colors of the metal, and there are windows and doors and, type thing. But we were concerned about how much more it would cost if we tried to match the building itself.
So it looks like from the drawings, it looks like the addition will be sort of subordinate to the main structure. It looks like the footprint is smaller, it's in the back. It even looks like it's going to be shorter. Like the church is a tall building. So it looks like this addition is just going to be one story. So it will clearly be an addition, and it will be subordinate and in the back and all the things it's supposed to be as far as footprint and design when you're talking about allowing an add-on. So my only concerns would be the materials, that it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb and look like a pole barn added on to the back of a brick church.
Well, the building itself would be kind of like a pole barn, but there's so many ways that we can make it look nicer, especially on the face wall where people would be coming down the driveway and the parts you would see the most. They're going to have a canopy over it, no post. So we have a place to be out of the sun or rain as we're doing what we do. And so the thought is colors would match up with the building, so it looks nice. It's not like something totally different, like say all of a sudden we got a red building back there. We would get the light browns or whatever's going on. And there probably would be the possibilities of some more decorative type things in the front, like you see in some of the businesses and that have gone this route. But we're kind of early in that part of the process, because in order to really step into this thing, we have to know that we can, as far as getting the companies to really come up with a really good print and pricing and stuff.
I mean, I think with the different material, it probably would look better not attached as a freestanding structure. I don't know.
This is Commissioner Nicewinder. I would recommend actually that, well, I think as far as an addition to an existing building, that's within a historic district, I think if you actually separated it with, what we would call like a hyphen, right? So if you look at your existing building, your eastern wing is kind of a rectangular box that is separated from what appears to be your sanctuary space by a smaller rectangle, sort of bridging between the two masses, right, the two volumes. So I think if you were to put this addition on the east side of that eastern rectangular box, I think you should separate it by a certain distance and connect. You can connect it, but then connect it with something that's not as wide, if you follow me, from north to south as the existing building. Because the way the site plan appears, or the floor plan, is that it's relatively flush to the full length of that wall, and which the volume, I think, can be that big, but I think you should maybe move it away 10 feet and then connect it with a smaller portion, and that way it definitely stands out as not part of the original or older structure of the building.
Yeah, that's something that we debated both ways within the committee or task force, whether we should attach it to the building or locate it some distance from the building. It will have, a concrete base, will have the heated and water, sewer locations, all those utilities will be there. So, okay, that's a point well made.
And I think then also that would, if it was separate, we're looking at the future, the integrity of the church structure, so that wall is not damaged, permanently. And so that if this addition is ever torn down, or you change your mind in 50 years or whatever, the church is still intact and all the integrity is there, and that back wall hasn't been damaged, by having an addition.
The question I have, hooking up to the building was strictly just so it was attached. We won't be able to, because of the structure of the inside of the building. There's no place for us to say put a doorway so we can go into the other building. Because as soon as you walk in that back area back there, it's 3 stories high, you either got to go down or you got to go up. And there's no place where the building with the canopy on it would be attached where it can come and go. So the question I would have is, if we needed to, which was my original thought, to say be 10 foot away, and we were kind of find out what was the city going to tell us on this. Not having anything there at all, it's like it goes to nothing. We're putting up some fake walls that's not part of what we're doing, or I'm not quite sure how we would do that part as far as making it look like it's attached, but it isn't really, because it doesn't go, we can't go from one building to the other.
Oh, well, I'm not.
So would it be thought to be better just to plain be not attached, or just we do something to make it look like we are, but really it isn't? I mean, I guess we can make closets over in that area, or mechanical rooms in that little stretch.
So sorry for interrupting. I didn't really understand it. It did appear from the drawing that it was, a potential to, like, say, knock a doorway through a hallway or something to connect. But if you're not intending to connect, then I think separating the building and and not touching the existing building would be even better.
Mm-hmm.
As Commissioner Scapani mentioned.
Yeah, because the closest we could come to having an opening that would kind of take you toward that, some of the building that exists already would go into what is really the overhang of the new building, because it steps back far enough that you're already going down steps to go up or go down to the lower level, because the lower level is halfway in the ground. It's like a tri-level. And so there's no place in there that you can do a doorway, walkway, something that's going to get you into the buildings from one building to the other.
I think Howard, what they're suggesting is just an open space
Mhm.
which, you know, we could fence off or, you know, put picnic tables or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the areas where we didn't know if we needed to have the building separated, what was the distance we would have to have it separated, you know, as we go through the process. So we really don't know where to put the footprint on as we separate it or not separate it. The cost factor on that, I've already talked to the people enough to know that it's a wash. What it costs to change the beam on that end of the building and attach it so it's waterproof on that end of the building, kind of makes it equal to what it would be if we, you know, had the skin or not the skin type thing. So it's not a cost factor of putting it up against the building. It's just what made better sense.
I would be interested in seeing the materials if you had any samples. It's just hard. It's hard for me to understand what it's going to look like when we're using words like pole barn, and I'm thinking shiny metal.
Well, it's going to be, I mean, it's going to be the steel, and I'm not even aware totally of like what are the options as far as like say shiny, can it be dull, or does it, you know, I don't know totally what that is. This is new, kind of new for us as far as, I mean, I see them in a lot of places, but it's new for us to actually be doing a project that includes that. But I do know that I've been in enough buildings, businesses and stuff to know that that's the type of structure it is, and you can do a lot of things to them, you know, if it's necessary. Say, for instance, you can put a brick, you know, a wall that goes across the you know, the face of it, like window, you know, like you see, I'm not trying to think of the term they use for that, but you know, that would come up to the bottom of the windows that would go across, or anything, you know, that type of thing, like a half wall, that it's more decorative.
Hi, this is
Heather,
Pastor Shannon. I have a question,
Hmm.
and that is, will there be an issue if we use the type of facade that Howard just described to ensure that people are not seeing a steel structure?
Well, it's hard to say without, I mean, I'm sure in everybody's head, there's a different image of, you know, you say one word and everybody thinks of something a little different. So I think it would be most helpful if we could actually just either pictures or actual samples. If you guys could get some different options to us where we could see what we're talking about exactly.
So there's no, so the only real point of having it attached to the building is just the looks, or there's no entryway. So I'm just curious what that purpose was.
Well, I think the biggest part is so we didn't have a 70-foot section of in between two buildings that could gather or collect things that we really didn't want back in there, and we were constantly cleaning it up or doing something about it.
It was more of a security concern of having a 10-foot by 70-foot space. You know, with people gathering there and maybe doing something illegal or illicit. But we could address that.
I guess Heather or Bill, so if I understand right, though, the actual church structure is not a contributing resource to the historic district. It just happens to be located within the historic district. Is that true?
You know, I wonder, I don't think it is, but I don't know for sure. Do you know what year it was built, the church?
1951.
Yeah, so because the historic district was established like back in the 70s, so it would have only been 25 years old at the time then. So I don't think it would have been.
And what's the main
time
period of the? Yeah, what's the time period of the historic district? you know, what's its significance?
Sure.
Is it
And I think it would be
teens
closer to,
or, yeah,
I think it would be more like turn of the century to 1920, kind of like the Weiss advocacy.
okay,
Uh-huh.
right.
The
So
education,
a 1950s era building probably isn't. And part of where I was going was if when it came time to make a motion, is it a motion to proceed, notice to proceed, you know?
Yeah. And I think that would be probably most appropriate.
And does that give them a little more leeway in material selection and design, as long as it's not out of scale with the original structure or towering
Right.
over
And I don't,
neighbors?
yeah, and I don't think the
You know,
church is
feels
a,
like there's a little more leeway.
yeah. I think there's definitely a lower standard.
That's where I was going, yeah. But regardless, I think we'd still want to see some material samples to get an idea of what, you know, what's going up.
Sure.
That's just me though.
I would like to see material samples too. Just, you know, when anybody's is talking about like a garage or a storage facility or something that's going to look like a barn in the middle of a residential area, it's cause for concern. You know, you just want to see the picture and the materials and make sure it doesn't look like a warehouse or a pole barn in the middle of a residential neighborhood.
Well, a project like this is far as my understanding, talking to the companies, the couple of companies that really would spend time on it, is that there's a lot of things you can do. And of course, they build the building and they put it up, and then it's up to us to go ahead and decide, hey, we want to have it look differently, say in the storefront. You know, what is the front we want to do? What do we want to add some brick? Do we want to put, you know, cedars, stuff, you know, to make it look different, so it doesn't look like, at least the front area doesn't look like a pole barn or, you know, type thing. You can put shutters around windows, you know, stuff like that. But yeah, it's just basically, you know, start wise, it's a 4,200 square foot steel building with like 4 big beams that's going to hold it all up in place. And then there's options of colors. But we were in a spot where we kind of needed to know it was going to be okay before we could really move forward to what all can we do to this thing, because it didn't want to spend money first and then find out it wasn't going to work.
Sure. And I think everybody's kind of on the same page that, you know, we'd probably approve an addition, you know, a storage shed type structure, but just kind of wanting some more assurances to know exactly what it's going to look like first. Is there, do you have a timeline of when this is all supposed to start? Like, can you come back next month with some samples so we can see the materials?
Well, timeline is more to do with how long it takes us to go step through. Like the next step would be a site plan to the city of Flint and moving forward and getting the okay. There is a certain point where I can, in fact, I think for the site plan, I need to go ahead and have somebody that we probably will be working with that would give us a more detailed print of the building. And at that point, I probably would have the opportunity to get more detail on how we want it to look. And because we'd have to start telling colors, there's certain things that determine how it's going to be drawn up and built for our specifications. So it's just a matter, I think, if we know we can move forward, there's a lot of things that I can start working on, but we're right now, it was like, you know, it comes a point where they start saying, well, if you give us a deposit, we can do this and this and this. And it's like, I don't even know if they're going to let me put this building up yet. I'm not giving any deposits. If you know what I mean, you know, you kind of got to know that this is going to work.
For us to say yes, I think we need some more details. It just,
I think that it is possible for us to get an idea of what some of those materials might be. Will we then, once we have that, it would be a matter of coming back then in July? And what would be the process, I guess? That's
you could come back next month. You can appear or not appear. It's always helpful when you appear so you can answer our questions and everything. But yeah, we love to see actual samples of what it's going to look like. I mean, we get into detail about like the roof and the cornice and the, you know, every little the slope of the roof, the materials, everything, and we just
Now,
don't
can I-
have a lot of that.
Sure. And can I also ask another question? A point was raised that the standard for us would be a little bit lower because the building itself was not within the time frame of the historic district. So are there other considerations that we need to take in mind that would help us when we're making the selection of the materials?
Well, yeah, I think the church, I believe, is not a contributing structure, so the standard is lowered as far as what we can allow. But now we would just be looking at, one of the biggest issues is, can you see it from the road or the sidewalk? Can the public see it? And so that's a consideration. And then just how does it impact or affect the rest of the historic district? So is it going to be butted up to the neighbor's house, which is a 100-year-old house and is a contributing structure and would look ridiculous, to have a big garage or barn next to a beautiful restored historic house. So we just think about, the public seeing it and its impact on the other houses that are contributing in the neighborhood.
Certainly, that's helpful. Thank you.
I can say that one of the ideas that I had as we
And then
were
just from
putting
a
putting this together was that I did not want this to be visible unless you got all the way back to where it was at along the driveway that that runs in from Chavez. And so the whole idea behind this is that it tucked in behind the existing building. So as far as people seeing it until they got back into the parking lot, that they're not going to see it's back there.
Not gonna know.
That's what I wanted to
The first
do.
thing I know that the footprint is, it's discreet and tucked away and in the back, and it's the smallest, part of the building, and it's exactly how we would want, if you're going to do an addition, this is how we'd want it to look, the size and location. So now it's just, the materials are kind of an unknown for us.
Well,
and if we could just see those.
This Commissioner Nicewinder, even though the parking lot is quite long, it actually would be kind of visible from Second, just by the nature of how the street in the, because you can see the church from through, across the parking lot. So, I mean, there are certain aspects of it being fairly visible from the Second Street side.
Second and Thompson, yeah.
But yeah.
But we have trees and shrubs that screen that. So.
Well, yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I know the trees are there. I mean, I walk down that street a lot, so I know you can see, right underneath the canopies. And I'm not personally, I'm not necessarily, I understand the need of, for a space like that. Looking at the drawing, it seems like a very super functional need that would, serve you well. But you have Jeff from Creekwood on retainer, or is from to this point in the process, are you not yet fully engaged? Because I mean, he could definitely help you in developing a concept for the complementary materials and the site planning and beyond the sketch that they've already provided.
yes, they're retained by us as well as Case Construction.
Yeah, this is Jeff from Creekwood. Yeah, we can definitely do that. This was basically a quick preliminary plan for them. But one of the suggestions I might make is on the eastern side of that building, we could probably, put a little landscape area in there to kind of, if kind of hide it just a little bit more and kind of dress it up a little bit, if that would satisfy. But this is very, very basic, preliminary right now. We're just trying to see if it's possible, if we could actually build this building. It's like they said, a pre-engineered building with pre-finished metal siding on it. We can do other options to kind of dress it up on the two sides of the building. so it's very preliminary.
And not to speak for the rest of the commission, but I think it's possible and doable, like you're saying, if that's what you're looking for. I think we're all open to it. We just need to be a little bit more comfortable with what it's exactly going to look like.
Yeah, I understand.
So should we do a motion to, how do we handle this? Do we postpone the application?
To adjourn it for next month, because I think if we had a motion to vote on it right now, I think just ethically, I think we'd have to vote no because we don't have enough information. So we don't want to vote no.
Right.
So we adjourn it to next month to give you an opportunity to provide more information, materials, photographs, whatever, so that we can vote next month and,
is that
try to work with you so we can.
Is that okay with the applicant?
Well,
I think that
Jerry, is that okay? Just come back in a month?
yeah, I think we could adjourn to July, the July meeting. In conversations with Howard Thompson, we feel like we'd like to have the building in place before winter, at least the exterior of it. And that puts us on a little bit of a time crunch.
Sure.
So,
Well, you've also got to talk to the city though, right, for planning purposes. That may drive things that we're not even thinking about as far as the separation between the two buildings or setbacks from the property lines or who knows what. So having said all that, I'll make a motion that we adjourn this application for 1 month with the expectation that you come back with more detail, particularly about materials and location of the building.
I'll second that.
okay, we have a motion with support. Is there any further discussion?
I do want to say, I just want, I think one of the concerns that they're having is they don't know if they should move forward. I mean, I think we could probably come up, and I don't want to speak for everybody, but listening to Heather, listening to Commissioner Hurley and everybody, that I think there can be a solution probably to move forward. So I wouldn't stop looking into stuff, like talking to the city and all that. I wouldn't wait, I think if with the right thing brought to us, I think we could probably come up with something. So I didn't want you to wait to talk to us to talk to the city.
Correct. And then our next meeting will be July 1st, according to my calendar. So you could have your certificate July 2nd and go talk to the building department, about your permits.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, we need to vote. We didn't vote on it. We just have a motion and support and discussion. Okay, if we could have a roll call vote on adjourning this matter till next month.
Commissioner Bernash,
Yes.
Commissioner Hurley,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Nicewander,
Yes.
Commissioner Stupani.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. So we will talk to you next month.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, applicant WT Stevens, property owner Flintstone Investment Corporation, location 655 South Saginaw Street, the Patterson Building. Is there anyone here to present on that project?
Yes, I am here. I am Beverly Beard from WT Stevens Construction.
Hi, welcome. Thank you for coming. If you can jump right into it and tell us about your project.
Okay, this building is currently being used as office space, and I think the owner has been in possession for about 1.5 years. There was an accident back in the winter, I believe it was December, January, where a car and a bus collided and the bus was pushed into the building, causing the damage. And so we are just attempting to repair that. The damage as such is needing a new door with the side light and transom, installing 3 windows, and installing knee wall glass. You can see most of the extent of the damage from the pictures that were submitted. And so our intent is to restore the building to its existing condition prior to the accident.
Okay. You said something about a door. Was there, I didn't think there was a door there before. Was
Yeah,
there?
there is an exterior door on that south side of the building.
Okay.
And I don't know, you can't see it from the pictures that were submitted.
I'm scrolling through them now.
I can see where it is just by knowing where I've seen it before.
Okay,
If you look at the top of the one, I'm trying to look
I
at one
do.
now,
Yep,
you can see the door. I remember seeing one there.
a door. Okay, because it's all boarded up now, and so and all the other windows are just windows all the way down. So I just didn't realize there was a door on that one because it's covered
You
up.
can see it on Google Maps.
Yes, there it
It's,
is.
it's there. The MTA has got another one.
Yeah.
The office I used to work for over on Court Street got hit a few years ago.
I saw both of those accidents.
Wow. So yeah, we're just, replacing it as is prior to the accident, trying to salvage that gold ornamentation that's at the top of those windows doesn't appear to be damaged at all. So and anticipate really changing anything on the structure.
Okay, so replacing with similar glass that'll sort of because it kind of has like a dark, I don't know if there's a film on it or what to make it dark, but the glass seems kind of.
Yeah, it has a little bit of a film on it. It has bronze metal framing around the windows, and all of the other windows that were not damaged has the same framing. And so we're gonna match as closely as possible.
And so the steel framing, not some other material.
Correct. Yeah.
Perfect. And then was there any brick damage that you've got to try to find?
No real brick damage, just, scuff marks and such, from
getting it cleaned
of the bus. So we're gonna, just clean as much as possible.
And what along the bottom, is that granite?
It's glass. It's called spandrel glass, and that is going to be replaced with the same glass.
So I'll make a motion that we accept the application as submitted.
Is there support?
I support.
Okay, we have a motion with support. Is there any additional discussion? No. Hearing none, if we could have a roll call vote?
Commissioner Bernash,
Yes.
Commissioner Hurley,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Nicewander,
Yes.
Commissioner Scapani.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. And as I explained, I will get this signed like tomorrow or Monday, whenever it's ready for me to sign. And then the city will contact you and get it to you, and you can start pulling your building permits and get it fixed. Our certificate expires, it's good for 1 year. So if you don't start the work within a year, you'll have to come back and get it renewed. But as long as you're, into the project within the next year, you should be good to go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is applicant Paul Herring. Location is 405 University Avenue. Is there anyone here to present on this project?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Great. If you want, you can just jump right in and talk about your project.
It's real quick, real simple. Need to replace the roof at 405 University Avenue with like materials. And then we are also looking at replacing the roof at 508 Mason Street with similar materials.
Okay. So we'll probably vote on these separate just because they're two different addresses, two different houses, even though it seems pretty straightforward and simple and not very complicated, but so
no worries.
45.
I make a motion to approve 405 University.
Is there support?
Support.
And any discussion?
Is there any, I'm looking at the photos, is there any alterations to like the chimney or trim, anything that's visible from the street?
Nothing that I plan on doing. I need to do something to that chimney. I just don't know what yet. I got to get somebody out here to look at that thing.
Okay, I wondered if that was gonna, sometimes they disappear when people put a roof on, so that's why I was asking.
Ooh, maybe that's an option. I think it's
No,
connected
it's
to the
not.
furnace.
No, it's not.
It's not an option. Okay. All right, then.
I mean, you'd have to come back and ask us if you wanted to do that.
And then no.
Okay, and it looks like, I mean, it's just basically a flat roof that you don't even see from the street?
You got it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Sounds good. Any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none, if we could have a roll call vote for 405 University Avenue.
Commissioner Bernash,
Yes.
Commissioner Hurley,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Nicewander,
Yes.
Commissioner Scapani.
Yes.
And motion passes. So I'll be signing the certificate and we'll get it to you in the next couple days. City will
Wonderful.
call you.
Wonderful.
And then our final applicant, Mr. Paul Herring, location 508 Mason Street. Again, another project to repair and replace that roof. So if we can look at that application briefly. And this one is more of a historic home, so it's got a pitch on the roof, not a flat roof, but just replacing like with like, essentially.
Correct. Hoping to get a BOGO.
And does this include the roof over the porch as well? Everything?
I think we need to do everything.
Any eaves troughs,
And is there
downspouts,
any-
venting?
We're going to leave what's there. I see how they're strapped to the roof. I don't know if they can pin those or not. When they get out here, I'm sure they'll tell me. I don't like the way they're pinned to the roof.
But not removing it, so just keeping what's there.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, is there a motion?
Oh, motion
Make a
to
motion.
approve.
Go ahead.
And support?
I support.
We have a motion with support. Is there any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none, if we could have a roll call vote?
Commissioner Bernash,
Yes.
Commissioner Hurley,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Wright,
Yes.
Commissioner Nicewander.
Yep.
Commissioner Scapani.
Yes.
And motion carries.
Thank you very much.
And we will get it to you as soon as we can, next couple days.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Have a good
Thank
evening.
you. Okay, that concludes item G in our agenda, all of the certificates of appropriateness and notices to proceed. Moving on to item H, old business, the Michigan Historic Preservation Network training. I did just get an email in the last couple days from them. inquiring about starting to set up the next new one, and I haven't responded to him yet. I've just been crazy busy, but I will respond, and I'll have something to report next month on topics and potential dates.
I do have a question.
Sure.
I didn't notice wasn't on here. I would have added to the agenda, but Lion Street Communities First project. Did we hear anything about talking to them about drilling the holes in the side of the building?
I know the city, I'm not sure if it was Bill or John who was going to be following up or reaching out to them. I'm not sure if that happened or not.
Yep, so this is John Mateen.
Go ahead, John.
I did reach out to Glenn Wilson. I asked him about the holes on the side of the building. He said that they were included in the plans that were originally approved. He did say that he has plans to come back to Historic District Commission, but specifically for a sign and I believe a fence. So I guess we can ask him to include what we originally wanted first time with the explanation for the holes in the walls, if that's at your discretion.
Okay. I do recall us being very clear that he'd have to come back for signage and fencing because it was undetermined at that time. So he knew he'd have to come back for that. But I don't recall any discussion. I mean, I thought there was a statement made that there would be no alteration of the original structure. The exterior walls would not be modified in any way.
That's what I thought too, but
Yeah, we'd have to go back and look. I kind of remember though, didn't that building have some sort of like HVAC grills or some openings?
no.
So the openings are new, you believe, not as a result of a removal of old mechanics?
For the new units.
Commissioner Bernash, this is Bill Vandercook. We can go back and review the minutes if you'd like. And
Okay,
present
that would
the
be
findings
helpful.
to the commission.
Yeah, and Bill, do we keep a copy of the application, with photos and things that would have been included?
We should have those, yes.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago, so I'd assume that still exists. I'll look in my emails because I keep them all, but otherwise, if you've got them.
And it'll be helpful just to know what the discussion was so that when he comes back for the sign and the fence and we're questioning him, we can say, look, this was the discussion and it was either approved or it wasn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so anything else on the training or communities first? And then bricks on Saginaw Street. I don't think we know about that yet.
Commissioner Bernash, this is Bill Vandercook. In the minutes from the last meeting, we discussed preparing a letter. The letter hasn't been prepared yet. Something that we need to work on.
Okay. And I mean, the funds aren't even available yet. So it's not like the project is happening in the next month or two, so it's not that urgent, but yeah, as long as we're just staying on top of it. Okay. So no further update on the bricks, and then moving on to new business. Is there any new business?
Not really new business. They're more kind of roundtable, I guess. But my recollection was we didn't typically people that were in the audience didn't ask questions directly to the applicant. I thought that was our job. And they were allowed to speak and address the commission, but I didn't think we typically opened it up for them to ask questions directly to the applicant. And it didn't really bother me today, but I didn't want that to be a new a new norm.
Right. And I don't think I've ever seen that before either, where, someone from the public questions the person directly. I mean,
Right.
you know, could be free to make their statement or state their opinions or, you know, maybe they want us to ask some questions, you know,
Sure.
speaking more to us rather than to the applicant. And then if we want to ask those questions, we can.
Yeah,
is what I
that's
would-
all. It just sort of took me by surprise, and I didn't think that was the procedure. So,
And I,
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah, I've never
different
seen
when
seen
it's
that
on
before.
Zoom. Because I know they've asked us questions before when we were in person, and the person would answer asked us questions that for us to ask them, and then they would answer. So I think the whole Zoom setup also just kind of
It gets
changes the
convoluted.
dynamic of everything because you don't know how to, what
Right.
to address. So,
Yep. But just, and I think like professionally and as far as like civility, I mean, I don't want there to be a screaming match between neighbors yelling at each other, you know, they can talk to us and if say, hey, these are my concerns, you know, everybody speaks to us. You know, these are my concerns. And then we ask the applicant, well, what do you have to say about this, A, B, and C?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that's how we'll do it in the future. Any other new business? Hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn. I'm hungry.
Support?
for
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All righty, good meeting, guys. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good night.
All right.